is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by a live credit union.
Welcome back to Fleet and Footy, and welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. This show is presented by a live credit union, by the way. This is the official show of the Jacksonville Armada. We talk Fleet and Footy. Today, I'm actually your co-host because we actually have someone special in studio today. Now, Armada fans, you've chanted his name, you've watched the highlights on repeat, and if you were there in that day in the stadium in 2015, you know exactly who I'm talking about. We've got a very special guest in the studio today. Not calling in, he's actually here. He made history in just 12 seconds, scoring the first ever goal in club history, and etches his name into Armada legend forever. That's right. The 12-second wonder himself, Jemal Johnson, is in the building. Jamal, how are you doing?
Wow, that's a crazy introduction. It's a crazy introduction. I appreciate you, man. I definitely appreciate you. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Well, you know, we've talked about having this episode for quite some time, having you in the back pocket. Our schedules haven't lined up quite, so I'm really excited to have you in the studio, and I hope the fans at home are excited to watch as well. We had a really fantastic weekend across both teams, and let's shout out the Academy boys really quick for also getting it done. Yeah. U19s, U17s, and U16s sweep out in West Florida.
Yeah, they definitely did good. Not so much the JFC side, but the younger ones. My guys, they dropped some points down there. Didn't do too well, but obviously the Armada definitely got it done. 2 wins and a tie, I think they got right. Yeah,
so, just continuing that winning weekend on as we get into the first, I guess it wasn't even the first match. It was the match of the night, Saturday night, as the boys in blue took on Club de Lyon. Club de Lyon is one of these teams coming in to the NPSL, dropping from a professional rank. You actually have some kind of, experience dealing with that kind of situation.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it comes to the off season, and you want to try and keep yourself in shape. And a lot of the guys, I'm assuming, have played at a professional level at Club de Lyon, and they've keeping their fitness, playing at a decent level. As we saw on Saturday, it was a top level game. Like, I was honestly surprised, not just at the strategy of both groups, but the level and the technical level of the players and how they would work together quite in unison after only a couple games in. So yeah, pro level going down to semi-pro is different, but it's challenging. But on certain nights it can really go well.
Well, we were trying to jog our memories on what that starting 11 looked like Saturday night. I actually forgot. We got the graphic right here to help you out. Some different names, but a lot of the similar names we saw start in week 1. Is there someone that you were really looking forward to watching live Saturday night for your first time?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to do it a lot last season, but on Thursday morning, sorry, my phone's on. On Thursday morning, I was able to come in and have a look at the training session. A couple of lads, after playing in the game and being in that environment year after year, it doesn't take very long for you to notice good players. It doesn't take you very long to sort of know the players that are actually going to be effective, just technical, good enough to make his way through. But honestly, I was looking forward to seeing Kirill Hakimov, and he definitely impressed me on Saturday night. Obviously, Solo, sharp. He looks like he's quick on the ball, quick decision making, athletic. But Kirill, man, he impressed me. I was excited to see him, and he done well on Saturday night as well.
Well, the first time the Armada has had to face some adversity, going down 1-0. How does that change your outlook on a game when you go down so early?
Big pressure games, it's nerve-wracking because especially if you're in an attacking position, the onus is on you to try and get your group back into it and propel them to get get forward. But in a league game, it's kind of like, you trust in your mates. You trust in your coach to make good decisions from the outside. And you just kind of go with it, You got to work hard, that from the jump. But I think they responded well, man. Like every goal that went in, they were getting right back into it.
Yeah, let's take you through those goals as we take a look. Down 1-0 early. They get that goal in the 9th minute, but as you can see here, G to Litzolo, beautiful cross and an easy finish, really. But this man was in the midfield running around all night. All 6'2" of them.
Yeah. He's got engine on him as well. That was a good thing to see. But he's good, mate. And if you get yourself a knack of finding yourself in the right place in the box as a sturdy midfielder, like you can make yourself a career just from that.
It's a classic, Tommy K kind of goal. You have your wingers and your right backs overlapping each other, your midfielders stepping up into that final third to put that ball away. Tommy plays that 3-4-3. How does that affect you specifically as a number 9? As we'll see a little bit later, right here, a number 9 score. Sebastian Zettel cross into Rabas on the wing, and a nice finish.
Yeah, going back to like the outside work that Tommy does, I think they do a fantastic job of timing. It takes a lot of work, especially with a new group, but they were fantastic on Saturday with that. It was a theme, especially in the first half. Let Solo getting round Vaccaro, let Solo finding himself in more advanced areas and being able to make that pass in beyond for Vaccaro running in beyond. It's gonna be a threat at any level when you've got players with that athleticism and that sort of nous to get in them areas.
So down both times as Jacksonville scores those goals, and you have this third goal that is honestly, I think, just the goal of the night, and it might even be up there for goal this season already in week 2.
Yeah, man.
Turnover,
off his feet and just
30 yards out.
Unreal.
Now
and that's the best feeling as well. Straight over to the fans as well. Look.
Now we'll take a look at some pretty good Jemal Johnson goals later on in this episode. But wow, I mean, what a finish! I got to talk to him after the game, and he was just super excited. He wanted to run over to those fans. He felt like that they're the ones that that they deserve it. And I know in that post game interview, he was just pumped to score that final goal.
Yeah, he did well with that. He definitely did well with that. It's just being able to have a look. It's a quick glance. It doesn't take long for you to get that sighting of it. The keeper's a little bit undersized anyway. So it's like as soon as you get the opportunity and he tries to join in the play, I feel that goalkeeper as well. You always know he's going to be creeping. And he only needed a glance and he's been able to find the finish. That's a great goal. I don't know if you will be joining us next weekend, but the boys in blue are actually away this next weekend. They go back to Panama City to play PSCSC, the new team in the conference. But honestly, the boys have been gelling really well together. It's a really cool team because you've got some experience in there, like guys like Danner, guys like Zettel, like you see on your screen. And a little bit later, a picture will pop up of Bamanziala Barujo, who's a guy that's come through the MLS Next Academy and done really well to the point where Tommy gave him 30 minutes the other night. And if I'm not mistaken, he went on and played an MLS Next game the next day. So yeah. And then, he did the next day as well.
What?
He went and got the winner the next day. I mean, got the winner the next day.
That's how you do it,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's been exciting, and then you got these returning guys like Giancarlo Vaccaro still bringing energy up top. This exciting season is just getting started. The boys return home in 2 weekends from now, back to Ed Waters. But Casey, can you throw up that away schedule just so I can refresh my memory? There you go. That's what I thought happened. We go and we played the two teams that we already played, PSC and Club de Lyon. Global Soccer Pathways, obviously in Naples, make that Naples doubleheader, and of course the all enjoyable New Orleans Gestures trip. I heard that you wanted a spot on the bus.
You always talk about this New Orleans trip. I'm like, let me get on that bus, man. Let me get in there, man. Let me get in. What's down there? What they got going on?
You know, I'm sure Kelly Tours wouldn't mind, you hopping on the end of that bus there. And you know what? I don't know if you noticed that date there. That's a July 4th weekend.
Oh, wow.
So now, I know people are going to be excited about that one. I know some Section 904 is going to make it out to that game. I actually know some Section 904 will make it out to the Panama City game this Saturday. But if you can't make it out to Panama City, please come this Saturday to Edward Waters at 4 p.m. The girls in blue take on the West Florida Flames in their first game of the season. So come join us at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium for that matchup. But it's been an exciting start to this season, Jemal, and I'm sure you've gone through seasons where maybe you get 5 wins in the bounce, or maybe you're 5 unbeaten. How do you keep your head on straight in those situations, especially some of these guys who we mentioned are younger?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a job for the coach and the management and the staff. Your backroom staff. Your supporting staff, making sure they're having conversations with the players. And it's real. It is real. It's a real thing. You start feeling this thought inside yourself, like, oh, I'm doing all right now. Do you know what I mean? The young kids especially. And, you find yourself going out a little bit too much. They know they've got the beaches down the road. They know what's going on down there. Even as young lads growing up, they know. And it's enticing, but what's the next step for you? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you really want to do? Do you want to just be a local guy, or do you want to go national, and do you want to go international? Do you want to go and play overseas? Do you want to play in like one of the top leagues in the world? You want to earn the things that can help your family. So keep your heads on, mate. Keep your heads on. I always speak to the young players whenever I get a chance to, especially the ones that you see as the bright sparks within the groups that they've brought in. I have brief conversations with it. It might only be like 2 minutes, but you just let them know, whatever goes on from here, there's definitely something after for you. And, if you keep your head on the swivel, you might get the opportunity to go and do something for yourself.
Well, a guy that's kind of taken that leadership role, really when he was young, he's been on this team now for the past 5 years. Miles Shanley caught up with Stuart Weber on the field post-match after the Boys in Blues 3-2 victory.
2 matches and 2 wins for the Jacksonville Armada as they earn a 3-2 victory over Club de Lyon FC at Edward Waters University on Saturday night. Let's talk with one of the starters and one of the goal scorers in the opener in Miles Shanley. That was great, right? You get a goal in the opener. Jemal Johnson in the pre-match thought you were going to get another goal here this evening. But for this club to come out here and get this 3-2 victory against a really good club means a lot early in the season.
Yeah, it was really good. It was definitely a tough game. We knew a lot of them are former pros, and it was definitely a really good opportunity to play them. And I thought we dominated them for most of the game, so it was really exciting to at least know we can play at that level and definitely beat them. So.
How much does that show through, that pro level from their starters? I mean, you look at the front line on offense for them, and they have a 32-year-old, a 29-year-old. These are guys who've logged a lot of minutes across many different leagues. Of course, Club de Lyon plays in Nice, playing in the NPSL this summer. But to go and do that against these veteran players means a lot for a young back line that's still gelling. I mean, sure, you and Paul played a lot together last year, but you bring in Sanko, you bring in Oliver. I mean, this group is still figuring things out. Sure. You've only been together for a couple weeks since the start of camp.
Yeah, it definitely gives us confidence. They have a lot of really good old players, and you can tell that they're veterans and by their runs out there today, and they make us work for it, and they've played a lot of really good balls in behind and definitely made us run a lot, and I was killing me at the end, so it was definitely good though. Definitely we're getting good relationships between us as players. and that's just keep improving. So it's really good.
I think one of the most important things in this National Premier Soccer League that we see year in, year out is how important the depth is.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in week 2, but when you get into week 8 and 9 and 10. And I feel like Tommy Krasanovic always does a good job of stacking this roster to where the guys that are coming in the second half have just as much talent as the ones who started at the opening whistle.
For sure. The trainings every day are, amazing. The level is really, really good. Everybody brings it every day, just because they're all competing for those spots. And there's a high level of college players from everywhere, and also former pros from our team. And it's high level in training, and that shows in the games from the level we bring. So it's really impressive.
I'll end this with a question about you being the local guy. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got a few local guys here on the roster, but for you, who's been around this system for a few years now, you played your college ball at Flagler, played at St. Augustine High School, and to be part of this Jacksonville Armada family the way you have been for a number of years now, how great is it to see kind of where it's come and where it's going here in the future?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's always awesome to see the fans out there. They're great. They're supporting us all the time, and it's been a great, definitely progression the last 4 years, and we hope to make this one kind of the best year yet. So it's really exciting.
All right, that is Miles Shanley, defender for your Jacksonville Armada, as the Fleet earn a 3-2 win over Club de Lyon FC. 2 wins in 2 matches. Not a bad way to start the year. For Action Sports Jacks, I'm Stuart Weber.
We join you back live in the Action Sports Jacks studio. You're watching Fleet and Footy presented by Alive Credit Union. As we get some chats in there, Sebastian Zettel tuning in, number 10, saying the main man. And
He must be talking about you, mate.
he was talking about Shanley there, and Ian with the shout saying Miles was his man of the match. You know what? That's a great little question for you. Who was your man of the match, Jemal?
I like I said, I thought Kirill played really well. They all did really well, honestly, man. In different moments of the game, they all did really well. But getting yourself on the score sheet as a centre midfielder, it's always a good thing. It was a great goal as well. Good movement, lead up to the goal. So yeah, I'll give it to back him off, mate.
Well, I know who was Goffey's woman of the match this last weekend. It was Gianna Ramirez, as they got the job done out in Seminole, Florida. They got a victory 3-0, a dominating performance, really. They opened up the scoring early with a goal through Izzy Whitaker, assisted by Bella Faraday, one of those returning players. Just before the half, Hayden Petrich delivered a ball into the box to Sophie Pontieri, who also played on the squad last year, and just slotted one home to give the girls 2-0 lead before the half. And in the second half, it was just too much for the Ice, as Gianna Ramirez sent a ball to the box. Lizanne Fogarty strikes one from about 20 yards outside and makes that final score 3-0. Now, I know you haven't gotten to look at the girls' practice just yet or in a game, but I know you've watched head coach David Goff coach an abundance of JFC teams and also this girls' team last year. What can you tell me about head coach David Goff?
Great information. Obviously, he's done it at the highest level. I think we're very lucky. I think us as coaches and obviously the players in all the same. The club is very, very lucky to have him here with us. And all of his teams do really well. You see the relationships that his teams have with each other on and off the field. I know that because we all work in close quarters, so you see the players and how they all interact. But with what I've seen from the girls, I have actually got a couple sessions in. I've seen a couple sessions, and they look like they're in a very, very good sort of. They're in a good spot. I think they're in a good spot. They've got some good players that are, full of confidence, which I'm sure Goffey has a big part to play in. But they're looking good. Tons of respect for Goffey. Tons of respect for him.
Well, you're talking about how good that spot was. They're actually got the number 1 spot in the South right now in the WPSL. Now, the WPSL is kind of broken down like the NPSL. You got your East, West, Central, South. And right now, the Fleet top the South rankings. As Casey, can you throw up that full top 10? Thank you very much. West Florida Flames is that matchup this weekend at Edward Waters, a top 5 regional matchup. You mentioned it earlier, these big games, a home opener. We'll watch that home opener goal that you scored in just a little bit. But these home openers in front of fans, last year, the Section 94 had an awesome TIFO for the girls. Do these games mean more as a player?
Yeah, because there's so much energy. You can see it around the city. If you go out for a coffee, you're meeting fans that wanna see the team do well. And that builds that sort of adrenaline within yourself before the game even starts. So I'm sure they're proper excited to get things going. Definitely excited to get the home opener going.
And I had to sneak this graphic in right before the show because I pulled into the lot here and found out that we are now number 4 ranked nationally across the WPSL. And we're talking about teams who have been perennial winners within this league, like a California Storm, like a Utah Surf. These California teams usually are so impressive. They've had these women come through their system, like an Alex Morgan, like a Megan Rapinoe. So at this level, you talked to me earlier about it. You've seen some of these JFC girls make this step up to the WPSL. How important is it to have that gap from an ECNL standpoint into WPSL and maybe making that step up into college or pro?
I mean, how important is it?
Yeah.
Extremely important, right? I think there's a gap. You mean with time involved to give them time to sort of understand the shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need it. But I think these opportunities that we have in front of us here gives them a good sort of really like a good opportunity to get that learning in that process. It's part of it, right? It's all part of it, the learning and the education and getting these moments, these high level moments, so you can get yourselves ready in preparation for it.
You can't even actually see them. The graphic cuts them out there, but West Florida Flames is ranked number 21. So it's going to be a almost top 20 matchup between the Armada and the Flames. Casey, can you flash up that home schedule? Because if you can't make it to this game, May 24th, you can obviously watch it on actionsportsjacks.com. But you can watch some of the other matchups. June 7th, the girls play FC Prime Time, which... Stuart, that's a combo for me and you to have. They changed their name from FC Prime to FC Prime Time, which is another fantastic thing we get to make fun of on the show. June 20th, they go and they play the Florida Gulf Coast Dutch Lions. And June 27th, Seminole Ice makes that journey back up to Jacksonville to get that rematch in. Last year, the girls actually lost the final game of the season to Seminole Ice to kind of pip them out of a playoff position. So I know Goffey and his staff were really excited to get that win. And you guys can watch this new looking Fleet this Saturday at Edward Waters. Tickets are available right now on JacksonvilleArmada.com. You flash up that away schedule, Casey, so you can just kind of get a full idea of what this season looks like. Another new team there, Florida Premier, out in Tampa, Florida. But these girls go directly into a playoff right out of their conference. So a lot to play for, a lot more of a normal league system. As we kind of jump into what you're doing right now in your career. You've had a long, and a really, really cool career.
You sound so old.
No, I mean, you really do. It's really cool to look into all the different clubs you played for, all the different teams. you actually played, internationally a couple different places. So it's been really cool to see your journey and how it all, culminated back here in Jacksonville. Can you kind of just take me through what your thought process was specifically coming to Duval County? I know you were with the Cosmos prior, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just a really good conversation that I had with multiple people about not just the move for me, but the club itself and what they were trying to do. I thought to myself, obviously I wanted to get away from the cold up in New York, but it was definitely a good idea to be closer to my mum, number one as well. My mum's down in Orlando. So there was loads of different reasons why, and but it was a good choice. It was a good choice.
Well, Casey, you can keep writing these pictures in a second, but can you throw up that picture that I got, because you know what's not a good choice? this outfit was not a good choice.
Wait, hang on. First of all, I would never like I wore some pretty outlandish things, yeah. But mate, there's no way I'm picking that. That was someone else. And I don't think, in my defense, I don't think I did that bad with, making the stuff look good either. Do you know what I mean? So if there is anybody out there that's got like a new brand or something, and they need someone to model it for them on a field in front of a goal, I'm your guy.
We might have to get you in some new Armada merch. I mean, you came up through the time maybe of some of the most iconic kind of football looks and fashion. Is there something specific that you can remember that you think back to now that you're like, oh my goodness, why did I wear that?
Oh, there's a few things, but I mean, not on the football field. I think a couple of times I've played a game with like different color cleats on and stuff like that, but. That was probably one of my worst choices, mate. Yeah.
Well, what was a great choice was coming to Jacksonville. We end up playing that first match in Everbank Stadium, and I feel like every single time we get you in front of a camera, we got to talk about it because it is such an iconic moment. I remember that goal. I was there at that game. Casey, can you play that goal for us? This is the reason why we call him the 12-second wonder, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is just an insane play. Can you just walk me through this right now?
Well, I mean, you could say like you've gone through like a million different things in your mind. You're only really thinking about, receiving the ball and having a good first touch. But, I've hit that ball and it's just gone past the goalkeeper. Honestly, it was the sound of like the fans in the stadium was just insane, mate. Look at Nath there as well. Look, getting right into it, mate. Look,
that's amazing.
Oh man.
I mean, there's 3 total touches taken here. Now, I mean, this is one of your better goals throughout your career. I did have to dig for some good goals to show, but man, I mean, where does this rank personally for you?
The celebrations, though, I don't know. It's up there. It's definitely up there. I've scored some not bad goals, though, mate. I mean, but this one is. I think this was more the moment and where we were and what was happening around the club and the city and stuff. I have people coming up to me all the time like I'm in the toilet or in the bathroom. And I hear there's a goal in the game starting. I've got my chips in my hand, my queso, like I can't even eat my food. You're scoring goals already before the game's even started. Like I've had some crazy people, like stories with people coming up to me, but it was massive, mate. Some of the teammates in there as well that I haven't spoke to or seen in years. So Akil, I went back to Akil there as well. Akil Barrett, shout outs to Akil Barrett as well. That's my boy right there. But yeah, this was an insane goal.
Well, let's keep the insanity going. Casey, let's play that JJ goal vid 1, because this one is kind of awesome. We're talking about another first appearance, first goal. Yeah. If I'm correct here. Is there something about that first game that gets you this fired up that you got to score every time?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like saying it's my first one. There's gonna be more, basically, like with a finger up like that. But my friends were actually at this game, and it was probably maybe the second or third time that they'd come and watched. Other games had just been reserve games, but this was like my first start for Blackburn Rovers. I just remember. I honestly remember this like it was. It was yesterday. What a finish that is there. Get in there, man.
Can you remember the hair? I hate to call you out, but I'm loving what's going on there.
Hey,
that's awesome. That looks great.
Don't let it fool you, mate. Don't let it fool you. That did its job. It did its job, mate. On a Saturday night, it done its job. But yeah.
So this is from your time at Blackburn. When we're talking about games at Preston, Darlington, and Wolves in 06-07. If Casey, you can play that goal, because this might be another one of your better goals you've ever scored in your career.
Yeah, this is probably the best one I scored. I don't think I've hit a ball that clean.
What a slide.
Beyond the outstretched fingers of the goalkeeper, nothing he could do this time. Not for the quality of that finish.
We got a little crit walk after the goal as well.
I mean, how fired up are you after a goal like that? It just seems like you only score bangers. But, a specific goal like that, it changes the tide of a game. It changes, it might change the season or your specific season. Do any of these goals really stick out to you? That like, man, this really changed the way that I played, or something really significant happened after this moment?
I think maybe the Blackburn goal. The Blackburn goal, in that time, I think it was like 19 years old. At that time, I was very, very unsure of what my future held for me with regards to my career and, the trajectory that I would be on. Because, you're in and around it, but you don't necessarily get, the biggest opportunities. When they do come, they're normally like in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there. In that moment, I had some very, very good players in the first team that I was trying to sort of overlap. And it's like a brick wall, mate. Trying to get through that, you're showing up for training on time. You're doing all the things that they've told you need to do. And, you're playing well in practice and you're not getting the chance. Well, I got my opportunity, and that was the moment I woke up to it. Like I can do this. I can be this person. That I show in training every day. So that probably that goal there was probably that was the one that really woke me up to the game, and it takes that long sometimes as well.
Well, I have personally asked some of the former Armada guys who have gone pro now, if you were a young kid in Jacksonville, trying to go through that process of making it up the pyramid, what is there anything right now that a young kid could do to maybe improve themselves or improve the way that they play or improve their mentality overall to make it to that level that you've been at?
A lot of the habits that you see that people see as good things and bad things are what play a massive part into it. But I think training, you've got every opportunity to enhance the way that you play, whether it's your physical attributes or your first touch, your finishing, whatever's expected out of you as a player. You have every opportunity when you're at the field, so take it. You know what I mean? Like, stay a little 30 minutes after training, not like going crazy with it. Cristiano Ronaldo was one of them ones where it's like, bruv, you don't need to be running around the field like after everyone's gone home, still with weights around your ankles and a ball. But he did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So sometimes you have got to do a little bit extra to get to where you want to be. And, you try and instill these habits in young players all the time. You have conversations with them. But that's to anyone who's growing in the game right now, what I would say is, you get a huge opportunity, especially over here in this country, to sort of do well. And you got great facilities everywhere that's around you. You see turf fields over here that don't even get used. Sometimes I was driving through the city, I'm like, oh my, I made another turf field over there. What? Might as well start doing some sessions on there, but there's no one on them. I'm like, get your ball, You don't need 10 of your mates or 20, 21 of your mates. Get a ball and just go on your own and just kick up against the goal, mate. That's all you got to do.
Well, you talked about taking your opportunity there. Before we touch on one last goal highlight that I got saved for you, you took an opportunity to go to Lokomotiv Sofia, and I really got to dig a little bit deeper into that. What was that experience like for someone, would you feel like a fish out of water there, or how was that experience?
Very, very difficult, and I talk about it all the time, like, you never know what you're going to get yourself into. You never know what you're going to get yourself into, and that was one of them situations. Like, it was difficult. The language barrier, training facilities. We trained at the stadium, but for a large part of the year, Bulgaria, especially in the capital, is covered. Not the south of it, but where I was, mainland. You're under snow, just
snow,
deep snow. There's days like where I'm just in my apartment, like, when am I gonna get out? Like, this is like, it was difficult in that sense, but all the more I got the experience, and got to learn a new language, a new culture. I scored on my final game there, and that goal put them into qualifications for UEFA Cup.
That's awesome.
So them fans hated me, man. I don't know, man. Something was wrong. I don't know. Something just wasn't really right. But that goal, mate, changed everything, mate. Changed everything, yeah.
Well, you made another big change in 2013, coming over to the United States, making that jump to the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Mm-hmm. You go to the Cosmos after, you make that jump to the Armada. And then to finish off your career, you go to Fresno FC. And Casey, can you play that final goal here? Because this is another banger goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Seems to be that I'm just scoring for 40 yards out here. What's going on?
Oh, my goodness. The end of your career, you ended up scoring 16 goals in 59 games. I don't know if you do that. So you ended up having a great little run there towards the end. What made you decide to, finally hang up the boots? Because I feel like that's always something different for every single player in every single kind of different sport.
Well, sort of opportunity, right? If as soon as something doesn't serve you, I feel it's, well within your best interest to sort of move on, right? And for a lot of players, I feel, that's sort of the determining factor of whether I'm going to keep kicking on or whether I'm not. You can love something as much as you want, but if you're not sort of, if what you're doing isn't serving you, you just gotta move on, and that's what I did. There was other opportunities for me that I felt I wanted to try and explore, and at that age, there's a lot more younger players that are coming in, and at the level that I was playing at, I think energy and athleticism was probably the most important thing because of the level, right? I just was just like, what? Let me get on a plane. Go back to Florida, reconnect with people that I know have love for me, and start again. Add another layer to me.
Well, we talk about it a lot. How much of these former players end up coming back to Jacksonville, and you come back to Jacksonville, and you actually start coaching at JFC, alongside guys like Tommy Krzanovich, like Elmar Bolowich, a couple guys that we mentioned on this podcast quite a few times. What is this side of the game really opened up your eyes to? Because it's got to be different coaching these U13s, if I'm correct.
Yes, very different. Extremely different. It's so many different elements to it that have made me grow as a human being. I've honestly had the most amazing journey, like, in my young coaching career. It's been a hell of a ride, mate. Trust me. You talk about wanting to develop and wanting to sort of create futures, but a large majority of it you find is having conversations with the people who created these kids. You a lot of your job is, education for parents as well, educating parents on what's the best thing to do in this situation to help your kid get to the next level, and that's been it's been a hell of a journey, mate. As I said, I can't say it enough.
Well, I appreciate you taking us through a little bit of that journey. I know we could really talk about it all day. I love hearing Jemal Johnson talk about his stories during his playing days. He's got some good ones. You might have to get him aside to get the really, really good ones, not on camera. But, I appreciate you doing that. When we come back, though, we'll talk a lot more international soccer, touch on some English specifics, Europa League, some FA Cup, some tournaments that you've played in yourself, US Open Cup. I've got a little video for that, as well as join us back here in just a little bit, and you will have all your Armada games this season on the actionsportsjacks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we Armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jacks 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jacks, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget the Brent and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jacks Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjacks.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Jacksonville sports, all the time.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team. Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season!
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Make sure, if you can't make it out to this women's home match this Saturday at Edward Waters University, watch it right here live on the Action Sports Jacks app, actionsportsjacks.com. The Action Sports Jacks app on the TV is my personal favorite way to watch the games. The games also get replayed the next day at 10 and 7 o'clock respectively. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll have it all on social media at Jax Armada FC. But we'll take it back to England, back home for you. Well, you know what? Actually, in that Wolves goal, they call you American. I don't know if you know that. In the commentary, they go, the American scores.
Oh, mate. I can't say I'm not American, honestly. Although probably now you could probably say it now. I've been a
50-50 now?
Yeah, I'm 50-50 now. I'm catching up, mate. Catching up.
Well,
you change my accent again.
Well, we're going to talk about, the South London boys, Crystal Palace, FA Cup champs for the first time in 119 years of history. That man right there, Eze, gets it done for them. 1-0 win to defeat Manchester City. The FA Cup, you've played in games like this before. Huge games, but specifically, I feel like it means something more to the English. We'll talk a little bit about US Open Cup later, but the FA Cup, what does that mean specifically to you?
Playing for your city, playing for the badge, opportunity. It's like it is a huge opportunity. Sometimes those opportunities come, like for me, that was where I scored my first, top level goal. It's a day where you can get noticed, and it's a day you can make history. FA Cup's massive, mate. And as a fan, you see it all the time in the reactions and the responses after goals have been scored, like what it means to people. I'm seeing like people like crying, like literally, like the camera panned around after the final whistle was blown, and it panned around, and honestly, almost every single person, Palace fan, was in tears, like just in tears, insane, mate, honestly. And he done this. He done his thing, and he's been doing his thing, and he will get rewarded. I can imagine.
You think he's gonna make it? You think he's gonna move somewhere?
I think he's got a massive chance, mate. I think he got a massive, don't you think?
I totally agree. He deserves that big money move to a top 6 club.
Come on, man. I mean, he deserved it. Well, he had earned it after last season. For me, I've seen people get chances way sooner than he has. Like even like a Jack Grealish. Do you know what I mean? Like Eze's been doing it for years, man. Even when he was at QPR, So I'm glad he's finally getting to that point of where he's showing himself.
Well, from one cup drought to another, two teams that also were going through some trophyless times, Manchester United and Spurs. Same kind of scoreline, 1-0, a really gritty win here. This match, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it all, but the young man scores out of the academy. I believe he's 17 years old. Yeah, I mean, you got to have an opinion on Spurs winning their first trophy. You've got to have some kind of an opinion on that, right? I feel like everyone does. Everyone does.
I can't believe it, man. I'm like, I'm on the phone to one of my mates. He's a Man United fan. I'm like, bruv, we're all good, mate. You know what I mean? I'm angry that we didn't do nothing, but you're gonna at least win the FA Europa League, mate. Do you know what I mean? You play against Tottenham, bro. There's no way you can get beat by Tottenham, bro. And like I'm seeing the scores, I'm like, oh my god, it's come off Luke Shaw's shoulder, like it's gone in. I feel like Onana could have got like a touch on that, but
he had a shaky game in that as usual, as per usual.
As usual.
But you know who I know was happy? Club president Nathan Walter.
Buzzing.
He was buzzing. I know last night he was giving it in all the group chats.
Yeah,
so it was
group chat, he was like piping up. I'm like, mate, put it down, mate. It's
a huge moment. You know what I mean? For are you gutted at that picture right there?
That was just too much. That picture was too much. I like Son, but Tottenham, man, like I can't believe they've won something, man. Oh my.
Who's next? Is Arsenal next to break it? Is it Man United again?
Well, we've got a lot to do in the Arsenal have got a lot to do in the transfer window. I think, backroom staff, there's something that's stopping us from getting to where we're supposed to be. And you could say it's a striker, but that's been a problem for, a good few years now. But we still are in and around it. So I don't know. There's something going on that needs to be figured out within the club, I think.
Well, I definitely want to get to U.S. Open Cup before we end this show, because I've got a video, of course, of Jemal Johnson in the U.S. Open Cup. But last night you had the round of 16 happen. Lots of MLS on MLS matchups. The only one that wasn't was Philly and Pittsburgh, and actually the Sullivan brothers absolutely tore up the Riverhounds. Philadelphia gets it done and wins 4-1. Minnesota beats St. Louis 3-2. That late night game, Austin defeats the Dynamo 3-1. DC United and Charlotte on pens. DC goes through. Orlando, Nashville, a rematch of the 2023 U.S. Open Cup semifinal. Nashville gets it done. San Jose, Portland, a really awful game to watch, if we're being honest. And New York Red Bulls, FC Dallas also go to pens. As we can see now, the East and the West portions of the bracket. The West actually today was drawn as the host city for the finals. So if whenever a Western team makes it, there will be the host. Let's run that final goal, if you have that U.S. Open Cup goal, Casey. Just because I want to talk about Jemal Johnson specific in the U.S. Open Cup. So you actually played a lot of games, but this is your final appearance in a blue jersey for the Fleet. What's going through your head as you step onto the pitch originally in this matchup? And then what's going through your head as you step up to take that first penalty?
Man, oh my God. I'm like...
You're fired up.
I'm at least like 30 pounds overweight here taking this pen, everyone. Just so you know. And I just never thought... I honestly never thought I'd get the opportunity to be playing again. I never thought I'd be in a situation like that. But it's always a good feeling to put a ball in the back of the net, mate. Always a good feeling putting the ball in the back of the net. Keeper thought he had it there as well.
we like to talk about this moment specifically just because I was involved in the team building process and what was going on behind the scenes, and we kind of just had this amalgamation of guys from all walks of life. How cool was that to just kind of bring everything together so quickly and get such a massive result in front of a massive crowd?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge, and it built up some good relationships for me with the players. Obviously, they're looking at it as a lot different from me. They're looking at that as an opportunity to put themselves on, where I'm just trying to be involved. You know what I mean? Let me get on another trip somewhere. Let me get involved in another trip somewhere where I'm going to play in some, in a great stadium. That's what comes with that. Opportunities, like I said earlier on about the FA Cup. But it was a great moment, great time. And the fans coming on the field and getting involved in it as well. It was huge, mate. It was beautiful. Beautiful thing.
How many minutes did you get in that next game at Miami FC?
Oh, mate. I don't even want to talk about that game. I don't even want to talk about that game, mate. But no, I think I might have got like 18 minutes or so.
That's solid. Solid. If you don't mind me asking, how old were you there whenever you stepped back on the pitch there? 2023.
38.
That's impressive. That's impressive right there, all right?
Yeah, 38. Trying to build my business. Like going into work the next day, I'm like stiff, my back's hurting, like. But no, it was a good experience, mate. It was a good experience. Just to help the people around me as well.
Casey, can you flash back up that bracket picture? I'm gonna get JJ's pick for U.S. Open Cup winner. Who you got from the final 8?
You want to say Philly, right?
That would have been mine. That would have been my guess as well. Yeah.
You want to say Philly looking at that. But that might be a tough game though. Red Bull, no.
Yeah, Philly. So all those teams on the top of these matchups will be hosting. My pick right now would be Philadelphia winning the whole thing, and my pick out of the West to play in the final is Minnesota because they just kind of seem like they're on a hot little run right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good clubs that are in final 8, but I think Philly, especially with the performance last night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, with the brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, you had a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old bossing the midfield. It was really cool. We're not going to be able to have enough time to jump to the U.S. men's national team roster today, but Quinn Sullivan was a part of that squad, the older brother of the two. So we'll get to see a little bit of him this summer in the Gold Cup. But I don't know if you've watched the show, JJ, but we have a segment we do every single week. Mm-hmm. It's the final segment of the show.
Right.
I like to say it's everyone's favorite segment of the show.
Go on.
But it's time for the weird soccer story of the week. How do you like that one, JJ? How do you like that one? JJ's not a fan. We'll see if that was good enough for Stuart later on today. I'll get the text whether that was good or not. But we've actually had a weird soccer story of the week come out of Croatia before. But Tommy Krasanovic, head coach of the U23 men's team, would be familiar with some of these clubs. But right now, we're going into the final match day in Croatia. You got 3 teams tied to possibly win the league. You got Rakia. I'm going to butcher it. Zagreb and a Hajduk split, which they play in Šebenik in Croatia. So the dilemma is right now is everyone's playing same time on that final day. So any of those 3 teams can win the league right now. So what the Croatian FA has decided that they are going to do is have the trophy sitting on the highway somewhere near a place where all 3 of them are. Now, you can see right here, this is the point where they're saying that the trophy potentially will be sitting on the highway, hopefully in safe hands, because there's Rakia, there's Zagreb, and a little bit further down is Šebenik, where Hajduk Split play. But we're about, the farthest we are is from Šebenik, which is further south there. That's about 2 hours from that red point. That red point from Zagreb and Rakia is about an hour to an hour 30 minutes. So there has to be a better way to do this. Can we fly in a plane? Can we take a train? I got to get your thoughts about this. Can we make 3 trophies? Can we just make 3 trophies and have like a fake trophy celebration? So 3 possible teams can win the league right now, but they don't know who to give it to. You know what I mean? They don't want to put the trophy somewhere to have a team celebrate.
So they're giving everyone enough time to be able to go and get it.
So it's going to be on the highway. Somewhere, sitting in a car somewhere. And then I guess that final whistle is going to blow, and they're going to be booking it on the interstate, I guess.
What? Wow. That's very interesting, to say the least. What? That makes absolutely no sense.
I would agree with that. I definitely thought it was interesting. Here's the map again, because it really is funny. That it's going to be sitting on the highway somewhere, and just waiting for that final whistle to go. I'm sure Tommy's got some kind of pick for the winner of the league that he would want.
Yeah.
But this is the second time we've had a weird soccer story from Croatia. So
gotta get it together, mate. Get on the phone, man, because something's got to be done. Something's got to be done over there.
Well, I think we're gonna have to end the show now. It's gonna do it for this week of Fleet and Footy. I'm gonna have to give a huge thanks and a huge shout out to the legend himself, Jemal Johnson, for stopping by, sharing some stories.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
That signature JJ energy. I know you've got your own little coaching stuff that you do. Is there anything you want to shout out before we get done here?
Yeah, visit my website if there is people listening that do want to try and excel. Put their kids in a good environment to grow. I've got camps coming up this summer, starting in the first week of June. This is the second Monday morning, and we're going to be hosting the sessions at Jack's Golf and Country Club. So if you do see yourself as a player that's growing and wants to get forward, definitely contact me, jjelite11.com, or on Instagram, and just, let's have a conversation. Let's get better.
Well, thank you, JJ, once again for joining the show. You can join us back here on actionsportsjacks.com for the women's home game this Saturday at 4 p.m. But if you want to be there live, visit jacksonvillearmada.com for tickets. You can join us back here for Fleet and Footy next Thursday, every 2 to 3. Thank you so much for joining.
Ancla Dorada. The official bear of your Jacksonville Armada.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.